another user group podcast. I think we're going to be releasing these back to back. And so if you just saw
Yes.
the one, you're seeing another one right away because hey, why not? Greg, how are you?
Microsoft Power Platform User Group on the air.
Yes, we're on the air. We're on the air. We're not necessarily live, but we were if you were like sneaking into our YouTube channel right now, or if you found the original Teams meeting and you somehow jumped in here. Let's just watch the chat. Somebody might show up.
Yeah,
remember
don't let him in last time. So.
Don't let him in. Don't let him in this time. Okay.
We'll see. Yeah, so I'm hoping maybe
I have you see, I got a bouncer right here behind me, ready to go. To watch out for it. I'm telling you, the AI thing is just really getting everywhere right now. Anything I said, find me a topic at the MVP Summit next week that does not have AI in it. Go. I'm still waiting.
I'm doing a couple of modern work sessions or planning on
modern work. Are you sure there's no AI in there?
Yeah, because I did a search for them. I think it's using Teams collaboratively. It may be. It's not in the description.
And it's like, and by the way, here's the AI that's going to make sure that you collaborate. On pain of Skynet.
Yeah, I'm sure that it will come up, but it wasn't in the description for it because I was
right.
I did like a search for the CoPilot ones I wanted to go to, some of the Power Platforms I wanted to go to, and then for some other side stuff, some Microsoft Teams and Viva stuff. So
Viva stuff. I mean, everything has a flavor of AI coming into it if it's not already there or if it's not, front and center that they're talking about it, right?
Yes. And so to kind of step back from that, next week is Microsoft MVP Summit. So for those people who have earned the recognition of a Microsoft Most Valuable Partner, is it program? Yes. So that means you've done community work, you do podcasts, you host events, you speak at events, you do blogs, you answer questions, forum questions,
stuff outside of work that make other stakeholders say, are you working? No, I'm not. Really? It looks like work to me.
Yes.
If it looks like work and it's not in work, that's community service right there.
Yes. So if you do that kind of stuff, Microsoft has a program where they recognize their people. So I will put a link to the chat. We can put it in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes later on to be an MVP. I'm going to give you a quick tip for those who want to be MVPs. You don't want to be an MVP. That's the first. That's my big tip. It's not Fight Club necessarily, but it's a case of like if you are already community focused, doing community stuff and doing all this stuff, then you can think about getting that MVP. But until then, don't think of it as I'm gonna do this because I'll get an MVP. Yeah, because that tends to make people wait a long time before they may get it, and sometimes they don't. Just saying.
Yeah, the other thing that happens is if you're not into it just for doing it, then you get a little.
Or worse, you're doing it for your work so that you can get business. They will know. They will notice. Just saying. They watch these things. The people in Microsoft, knowing people in Microsoft is useful, but it's more useful that if people in Microsoft know you in one way, shape, or form, whether or not you've talked to them, that's actually helpful. These are just little tips that we'll see maybe on a different show, but not for now.
Well, anyways, that's next week. So Ralph is going
next week
to be there Monday morning, right?
Yes, next week. That's
right.
I
land late, so I'll land at 8:00 on Monday. And then I'm coming home late on Thursday and get.
Turns out there's Monday sessions. They call them the pre-day, and it's chock full of sessions that start from AMAs in the morning to a whole bunch of stuff in the afternoon. I'm like, well, why didn't you just say it was from Monday to Friday instead of?
Yeah, I don't get that either because last time they did that to me, and then they did it this time that there's stuff on Friday, but I can't stay that long. So
this time I made sure I got lucky. This time I thought I was not able to get an early morning flight, and then Alaska Airlines sent me notes. Hey, we'll give you $25 if you take the early morning flight. Really? You were charging $300 more for that flight, and now you're telling me you're going to give me $25? I'll take it.
Nice. I was I have to work, so I have to work in the morning on Monday.
There is that.
As you know, most of my business is with an team in India, so I tend to be done around 3 in the afternoon. So that worked out great. I could be done, and then I could go to the airport and I can hop on my flight and go to Seattle.
Well, I'm usually up early in the morning anyway to work with no one else but India, of course. So a 6 o'clock in the morning flight is a doable thing for me. Why not? For my time.
I mean, I didn't have to. I could take the. I didn't want to take the day off because why use a vacation day for something like that? So.
Oh, that's right. Because in your case, you're using that kind of day for your stuff. I'm sort of I'm not exactly PTO. I'm considered training. That's what it's considered.
I probably could have, but I didn't really ask about it. I didn't want to go through the problem. There's
actually that makes you more community that way than actually the other way around.
I didn't want to like jump through hoops and have to try to. Or if we had an easier expense plan, so it's coming out of my pocket, but I've got some stuff that will offset that.
Taxes. There we go.
Yeah, so
into your taxes.
Yeah, do some freelance stuff occasionally. That just some side help of projects for people that I can use to offset that. So like the speaking, when we speak at an event, like
right,
can't think of what it's called. TechCon, whatever used to be SharePoint Fest. Sometimes they give you a stipend.
EduCon now, TechCon, yes.
Yeah.
So by the way, no TechCon in Chicago this year. That's pretty sad.
It will be coming back, but it's not on this round.
I'm wondering, is it because they knew Ignite was going to be November? By the way, folks, Ignite is in Chicago, and we're the Chicago User Group. Ignite's going to be here in Chicago. That means you don't have to pay for the airplane.
Yes. Hoping we can do something special there. We should talk to Mark Cashman while we're in.
When we get there next week, let's make sure that we intercept those folks in some way, shape, or form, and let them know that you're in Chicago. We want to do Chicago stuff. I'm already trying to prime them with Chicago stuff to make sure that they're going to have, like when they did Ignite the first time, they had Chicago food that wasn't Chicago food. Just saying, what I mean. If you recall, I don't know if you recall that first Ignite.
No, I remember
one of my
that.
feedback. I'm like, you're in Chicago. Why did you get food from somewhere else?
They had some good stuff. The problem with that, though, and I'm hoping they're not going to run into this problem, is that most of the hotels weren't near the venue.
Yeah.
And I know they built a couple since then.
Yes.
So,
there's more stuff going on. Then they had the buses, anyway, to take you back and forth for a lot of folks. And anyway, for us, we're just going and we're driving in or taking the L or taking the bus or something.
Yeah, did I stay? I drove in. Yeah, I drove back. I commuted. That's right. I didn't stay down there at all, which was kind of a pain.
Well, yeah, for me, I'm in the city, so not so bad. So
but for me, it was like you're there late because you want to do the the networking afterwards, so the different events. And,
yes.
That worked out.
Anyway, so that's coming up, folks. So watch out for that one. If you have an opportunity to go, as soon as you see the registration, go ahead. I think they have like a whatchamacallit,
wait list.
What do they call it? Place the date, or what do they call that?
Hold the date.
Yeah, and then you can click on that and hold it at least. So highly recommended, folks, because there's definitely going to be, even with all the AI stuff, and that's some of the stuff we'll talk about a little bit over here in a few minutes. The fact that everything has like an AI flavor thing going to it, or Gen AI flavor to it. I will say one thing for sure, that things are getting much better on the AI front from when we kept trying to demonstrate stuff. I want to demonstrate one thing for you before we go today. But what I wanted to cover today on this particular piece is the fact that I also did the Global Power Platform Conference for Orlando. And so this was different. It was in person in Orlando at one of the colleges over there. By the way, something that we're going to do similarly for M365 Chicago coming up in July. And what they did is they had a live track. They had a hybrid track where there were folks that basically were live on Teams and actually met and then broadcast globally. And for the folks that could not make it, they wanted to have a lot of stuff. So they invited folks like myself to record our session and then give them the materials, like the slides they want to share and all that stuff, and just drop it into like a OneDrive or something like that. And they would now put it wherever they needed to put it. Right. And that's what I actually did. In fact, I'm going to share my screen real quick and you'll see some of this material over here. Let's go share a screen, a window, and let's share the small window. I think we'll share the small window. 1 second. Hopefully this is the small window. Small window. Hold on. Share, because sharing's caring. Let me know when you see yourself. You see yourselves? Uh-oh.
I see.
Can you see yourself, or is it not sharing?
It's sharing your desktop so I can see
Yes.
like the teams that you're at.
Yes, that's what I wanted. That's what I was trying to do. I didn't want to share the big screen. Remember how it is when I share the big screen? Everything's so tiny you can't see it.
Yes.
So I wanted to just basically show you what I did over here. See, I made videos and I made PDFs for my courses. And by the way, we can share these, I imagine, because they're.
No, you're sharing the teams view.
It's only Teams?
Yes.
You don't see any other window?
I'm just seeing I see the whole window, but I see like the device settings and the me window, your window, and Raquel's window.
Okay. This is interesting. Oh, device settings. Wait a minute.
You must have.
Yeah. So I'm closing that. Now you see everything, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to try to look at this files. You see files here, my files.
No, I think you're sharing the application and not your desktop.
What again? Let me go stop sharing. I thought I shared window. Share screen or window. Oh, I have to do entire screen. Sorry. Here we go. Screen number 1. Now we see it, right?
I do
see the full screen and me moving
around?
Yes,
now we see the full screen.
There we
go. Okay. Now we see the files.
So just to give an idea, here's what I did though. I found a new system, which I'm getting the impression that maybe we keep telling Microsoft to buy some of these people like Sessionize or Eventbrite and all that stuff. And I think they might get these folks, and it's called StreamYard. And I want to show you the video that I just a little bit of the video that I did for it. So I'm gonna open it up here, and maybe I should share my sound too. Hang on. I'm going to stop. Well, hold on a second. I got to stop sharing. I'm going to share again.
Is that the
One moment, please.
So and I'm going to
say, is it the share system audio? You should be able to hear some music here in a moment. You hear it?
Yeah, no, I'm seeing a clock down.
All right. So this is just Windows Media Player playing it.
Hey, everybody. That's this me. Is your second show with me, or is this your first?
Nice echo there.
Ralph Reeves here.
It should be echoing.
On the virtual side.
There, see, it says StreamYard right up there. Let me fast forward it a little bit.
AI Modeler and Dataverse are the other pieces. Owner of a workflow. The owner when they had COVID-19
and I just did the stuff right over there. I'm just really quickly showing you that that's on the video. I'm not sure if we're allowed to share it on our side right now, but I do believe that if you had registered for that conference, or they're going to put it somewhere in their YouTube channel, you should be able to see that show. But otherwise, what you were looking at was the latest version of the licensing piece. Licensing, remember my favorite class that I think we gave this is one of the places that we actually had in public done the first time. But there's one change that I want to talk to folks about, a big one on the Power Platform licensing. Let me open it up. Power Platform licensing. I'll open it up from the PDF. Let's see. Give me the PDF. Hey, that's not it. I thought that was the PDF. Hold on a second. Where is the PDF? Oh, that's MP4. Sorry. PP license PDF. There we go. Old man eyes. One moment, please. Let me know when you can see it. All right. Okay, let me make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to scroll down over here. I'm going to get down to Z. And by the way, so a lot of this was updated. I had to update a lot because a lot of the screens changed. They moved things around. But the big thing over here, all right, the big change, of course, CoPilot Studio, we talked about it, is the way this thing gets built, right? A big change. And I wanted to show that to everyone here today. And that should be a quick talk on that one. Let's get down to Power Automate. There are changes in the other pieces, but not so much as of what you might be used to if you've been following along. But CoPilot Studio is this. This is when it was PVA. If you remember this, $1,000 bucks, and then per month you get 2,000 sessions. All right. And they considered a session when you started talking to the bot. And at some point you said, thank you, bot. Go away, bot. I'm abandoning you, bot, whatever. And that was considered a session. 2,000 of those for $1,000. You think about that for a second. All right. Now what is it? $200 a month for the entire tenant and 25,000 messages. So wait a minute. What's a message? A message, by the way, it's either it counts as one or two message. A message now is I asked the bot, I talked to the bot. Bot said, okay, hi, hello. Guess what? That's a message. I want this. And then bot answers. All right. And depending on how it answers, it's either one counts as one message or two. And we'll look at that in just a second over here. Here's what you get. Each request sent to the CoPilot triggers the action, counts as a message. Basically, if you trigger the CoPilot, or rather the bot, it counts. And basically, you buy them in packs of 25,000. Use anywhere in the tenant. And there's some nuances, and I'll get to those in a minute. That seems much better than $1,000 that you had to shelf up front, and that get 2,000 sessions, which may or may not be anything you like over here. This one includes Power Automate Cloud Flows, though. That's a big deal. The other one did not. The other one is like, well, you need your Power Automate licensing to go with that.
Yeah.
Dataverse is included. Well, it needs it. Dataverse is actually part of this as well. Again, in the other one, the Dataverse only came in if you are using something in Dataverse, and then you have to pay for that anyway. The big exception, premium connectors are included. I'll talk about that in just a bit. And then purchase, of course, at the tenant level. And here's the big thing difference also. In the old one, you couldn't exactly let it go to the outside. No one from the outside could see that unless they were fully authenticated to get in and everything else. There was a whole bunch of issues that you had to get around, and there was nothing in the licensing to help you do it. Oh, let me make this one a little bit bigger so you can see the screen. This is, by the way, in the licensing guide when you download that PDF over here. Basically, the highlight shows that the unlimited use cases for M365 Copilot license for Teams users. It's like if you're like in Teams, it says here, and you can see that unlimited. See that over here? I'm going to Control Plus here. Control Plus, Control Shift Plus. Copilot Studio use rights in M365. The idea is like if you're already paying for M365 Copilot, why should you pay for a message? Because technically speaking, you paid the $30. You're in, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So that makes sense, right? And here's the thing: the Gen AI capabilities are now called out in the original PVA. And if you wanted to talk to Gen AI, you basically had to make a call to Power Automate, and then Power Automate would go talk to the AI builder or one of those other things, and then do stuff. So, which means you had to pay for that separately. If you had OpenAI that you were using or Azure AI, you had to pay for that separately. In here, there's Gen AI built in. All right, to an extent, and we'll look at that in just a second. Then we have the concept of the plugin concept. The plugin concept over here says if you build a bot here, essentially your bot that you're building over here becomes a plugin for M365 Copilot. That means that this is no longer just Power Platform. This is much bigger than Power Platform. All right. And then, of course, there used to be like the AI Builder was part of this, part of the issues before. It's no longer part of this picture. AI Builder is its own beast. If you use it, you're using it separately. On the footnotes over here, let's look at this one. Here's the big one. The Copilot Studio message, the common currency. That this is their wording. Build message is a request, and they give you an example. User asks Copilot, "Is the store open?" Copilot says, "Here's the store hours." Build message. The Copilot proactively greets the user on the website. Hello. That's a build message. The user asks the Copilot for store hours for the upcoming holiday, and Copilot responds using Gen answers. Now, I don't like that example so much because I need the store hours for the upcoming holiday. Why is that different than when I ask for store hours? Because in that particular case, you're asking the Copilot to talk to the Gen AI engine behind the scenes, right? The Gen AI engine behind the scenes will actually say, well, I'm going to look up and see you're here and you're asking me, and you're from this country asking me about store hours, and I happen to know what the store hours are in my database, but I happen to know from looking on the web that this holiday means the store hours are different. right? It actually uses Gen AI or the GPT engine to make it happen. So that's actually huge. It counts as two. In other words, remember before I said if you had to pay separately for OpenAI or everything else, this is how they get around that. How do they control that? They said, well, we're going to charge you an extra credit when it touches the Gen AI stuff. If it just looks at your own topics and the answers inside of your topics, that counts as a point. All right, here we go. The next footnote, here we go. Messages in Copilot and Teams are unlimited per tenant per month. Now, this is interesting because it makes it seem like you can just go crazy with this. It's like, whoa, unlimited? That means, remember that 25,000 message? Gone. However, there's a service limit, 10 sessions, and then they're back to the sessions, by the way, and they forgot that they needed to redefine sessions. 10 sessions per user in 24 hours. And that session, again, is you start talking to the bot, and then you're finished using the bot. And they basically count that as a session. If you're just like willy-nilly just talking randomly to the bot, you're very likely not in Teams asking those questions. At least that's how that works. But that means that you, because it can't mean 10 messages only at a time, right? That makes sense. All right. So the nuance over here is limits in the tenant, right? But there are no other limits. There's however messages it takes in that session. If you ask for 100 messages or 200 messages or 1,000 inside of that session, it counts as one session. At least as far as you're using it within 24 hours. When you're done with the session, by the way, on the 11th session that you start up, and it tells you, oh, you're doing a new session, you need to wait 24 hours before you can come again. That's the error message you get. That was the old system used to give that. I'm not sure what it looks like. I have not seen this actually work yet. I want to see it work. Hopefully they'll show us. All right, a little bit more on this over here. They talk about here the Teams limits over here but they send you to a link on the website, right? So no longer in the document.
Yes.
Let's see, Teams app. Apparently, you can have 50 co-pilots in a single team. That's a lot.
And in one team or
in one
just
single
in
team,
teams?
You can deploy 50 bots, 50 different bots in one team. I have 100 teams. Isn't that 500 bots? No, 5,000 bots.
I will believe that when I see it, Ralph. I think it's 50 for the whole tenant.
Again, the 10 user limit per per day, again per team. It's like, wow. Basically they're saying, wow, you got teams, you can go Copilot crazy as long as you stay inside of Teams. We want to question this one because this one, are you sure? Won't the API limits get hit really hard and everything else? It's like, well, apparently. I mean, here's the thing. They don't tell you that you're build one session or twice or whatever. If those co-pilots have Gen AI in behind them, it's included, right? All right. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Topics.
More. Wait, there's still more.
Yeah, I know. There's still more. 1,000 topics per co-pilot in Dataverse environments. Now, here's the thing. Teams, right, has only a small Dataverse, right? 2 gigs, right? Yep. So it's saying that in the Teams environment, only 250 of those can fit in there for now. Right?
Makes sense.
But they also tell you, you know what you can do? You can go to the Teams environment and you can upgrade Dataverse inside of Teams. Did you know you could do that?
Yes, I did know that.
Yes, that was something that we could do before. Some folks don't realize that they could have done that. It's like, how do you get around that 2 gigabyte limit? You go premium is what you did before.
Yes.
So you upgrade. Once you upgrade and pay premium, well, essentially now that limit's gone. But my question is, well, if you upgrade and go premium, what happens to the unlimited Teams messages? Is that still there? Does it mean when you pay that you're now on the limit area? Or when you pay and you're still in Teams, you still have unlimited Teams and you have all this stuff? That's still an open question I'm going to ask, actually. Trigger phrases, 200 per topic in Teams and web, the same. So the topics in the web app. So web app means just regular, the plugin version is what they mean. It doesn't apply for the co-pilots in web app. It doesn't apply. It was only 50 per team for co-pilots. 200 per topic in the web app. Again, the same Teams app, no difference. Skills. All right, skills is a different thing. The concept of skills. Skills are the, let's just say, the add-ins that you add to your co-pilots that can do things. Apparently, you can have about 100 of those in a co-pilot. and you usually have to have a like a standalone to be able to have those skills anyway. Those skills, if you think about it, they could have their own cost. That's what that means. What they're saying is they're just limiting how much you can do for now. Any questions on that one there, Mr. Craig?
No.
Nope. Nope. Okay, let's look at some of these other ones. Consumption rates. Okay, let's look at that one again. Consumption rates. We were talking about the how the messages work, and then they gave like a link on the Gen AI answers capability. And here's how they actually boost the conversations. Okay, basically it's the conversation booster. Anything that touches the Gen AI piece. I'm hoping I'm going to get a chance to show that one over here today. Actually, let's see. They include like and in the licensing guide they're including how to use it, why you should use it, sort of stuff. They're trying to do they're selling in the licensing guide as well. So all this is this last link over here just says, well, here's how to use it. And by the way, here's the Dataverse that's in CoPilot, which is actually the same. So I just a note, like in people wonder about the Gen AI, the so-called large language model is a database. And someone might ask, well, is that in Dataverse? Won't that be so big that it won't fit in Dataverse anyway? No, that's something completely separate. However, Dataverse itself can be a source for data, but that's nothing to do with what they are doing over here for cost. All right, finally, manage the requirement. Oh, this is the interesting thing. The managed environment piece. Managed environment says that in order for you to use Copilot Studio in managed environments, you need to get a license for Copilot Studio. However, it'll cost you nothing to get it. But you have to actually go and get it, is what it's saying. You have to go into the interface and say, I need Copilot Studio. And then it won't charge you. Remember, like it's like 25,000 messages. When you just get it by itself, it sort of sits there until you start using messages. What they're saying is you must have it handy, and then we'll let you have it for managed environments. Whether or not you use it on the other side and then pay for that 25,000 to 200 bucks, if you don't ever touch that, it's zero cost to you, is what it means. What they're saying is if you're gonna, they just want it to be in there. That's a little weird though. It's sort of like, why don't you just include it? Why did you make it that way? Right now, that's the way they need to figure it out. Okay, licensing issue, capacity enforcement. That 25K monthly capacity cannot be carried over. Or rather, yeah, it can't get carried over. So like, I have 25K per month. When the new month starts, you start again at 25K. If I had like 10 left over, can't go over. And now here's the other one though. Inside the doc, it says that, well, if you're over the 25K by a little bit, Microsoft might let it slide. But there is no note that says when will they let it slide? How much is reasonable? What do you consider reasonable? It's almost like you got to check with the rep. It's like, hey, I might use like 20 more messages a month, or 1,000 more messages. Will you still charge me for the next 25? They might like, all right. Or they might say, hey, you're already paying for 50K worth of message. I'm not going to bother charging you for another 10 because you're a good customer. You paid for 2 packs. We don't know what that is. So the note over here is to check with your rep and figure out when they look at you, do they seem like they're bored with you, I guess, or ready to get out, or they're like, hey, I want to sell. Figure that out, and then that will tell you whether they'll be slacking or not. Copilot Studio for M365. I talked about that earlier. It becomes essentially now just not a Power Platform tool, right? And then of course the beneficiaries are those people with Copilot licenses in M365. There's an Appendix B piece that goes and includes Copilot Studio, and I can show that in a little bit. And a note for myself: the Microsoft licenses the references the D365 guide over here for Copilot stuff, but that stuff is changing monthly. They keep adding new Copilot powers to D365. So before you go and start coming here to do stuff Copilot wise, you need to look at what is included with your D365 before you get going. All right. Any quick questions before let me go down to the Appendix B over here and show
No,
you.
it's pretty good. Looks exciting.
I need to set my phone to do not disturb. Now, apparently, my messages that say I'm in the meeting is not good enough. All right, here we go. Let me go to Appendix B. over here. That's the appendices. No, you see, I cover all this stuff. And over here, here's the what's called the user rights for D365, but it's this one over here. Let me go plus over here, and they tell you which products officially qualify for a Microsoft Copilot Studio for Teams. Works for these products. So like you have an E1, you get it. An E5, an F3, you get it. What don't you get? Windows Pro, of course not. Windows Enterprise, nope. You have to get one of these Office ones. Let's see, what else don't you get? The A1, the A licenses. I think are the A's the students, I believe, the education ones. I believe that's the education one. So some of the education ones come with Copilot. So that's actually pretty cool for school, right? you get a discount for this stuff. That's actually really, really neat. Right? So anyways, that is what I wanted to show over there. I wanted to try to give you like what the Gen AI on Copilot sort of looks like. Let me go to find my one that I have in one of my play tenants over here. Play with the tenant. Hopefully it'll go straight to that Copilot. I want to show you how easy it is to set up. And by the way, you can go into your own dev environment and play with this. All right. So and it's not restoring my pages from before. So I'm just going to have to go to Copilot studio.microsoft.com. And yes, it remembers where I was. All right, here we go. So let's see. I think I called it the play games one. So this is the one that I created recently. And this is a dev environment over here. New features. Oh, it's first time opening in this particular browser. So it's going to give me all this neat stuff with the capabilities over here. So this was a typical create. You see over here all the new stuff, adding building blocks, creating custom topics, the plugin actions, which is in preview for generative AI and stuff. But let me go show you here what I did in the topics. All right, so I created a topic, and I used, by the way, when I created the topic, I did this: create topic, create from description. That's how I created the topic. That's Copilot right there. And I created this topic over here, and as you can see, it did a full name for the topic. And this is exactly the topic is literally the thing that I put in. Let me go allow, stand by. Let me close off let me hide the Copilot message over here. So this is what I did. I asked, I'm looking for new games to try out on Game Pass. Is really what's the name of my topic over there on Game Pass. All right. And as you see over here is the phrase, and it automatically created these phrases. So let me go and edit the phrases so you can see what they look like. Recommend new games on Game Pass. Suggest new games to try. Looking for new games. Whatever. And I even added my own little extra one. I added suggest new games on Xbox Game Pass because I found out that it's probably useful to say the word Xbox in it so it doesn't try to go out and do something outside of the Xboxes. What I try to do. I try to make this like an Xbox Play Games helper. So then what it did automatically was added a whole bunch of messages for me. Look at that. Welcome to our game recommendation. It did this. It did this automatically. See that? It wrote that little piece of text. Let me close that so you can see this again. It wrote this little piece of text here. Did that automatically. It wrote this. Automatically it did, hey, what kind of games are, it did this piece. It automatically did user response for game genre, single player or multiplayer.
Nice.
And then it added a few other things I took out that were not useful, like, for example, PC or mobile. I took that out for now. And then it says, thank you for providing this information. Oh, so I added, so that message came in. Oh, in fact, I'm looking at this. This message needs to come in later. Let's see. Hold on a second. I need to put this one afterwards. Wonder if I can move this. It won't let me drag it out.
For you.
Yes.
Have you played with anything like the Azure AI Studio that is in preview now?
Oh, that's new. Yes. But that's, by the way, that's going to change. There's a preview version of it that we're going to see next week, by the way. I'm in those classes.
Maybe.
They said so.
Not to violate any non-disclosure agreements.
There's no non-disclosure. They said they're going to change it, but how it changes is, that's the part we're going to find out about next week.
I was just wondering how well the Power Platform CoPilot Studio will interact with that.
They told us they would tell us about it next week, because I asked exactly that question today. It's like, hey, what'll be the difference? When do you use one and what? I said, yes, you know what? You're not the only one who wants to know. We'll tell you next week.
Because I was looking at the platform, and I posted a link to it where it tells you can build your own copilots in the studio. So
I'm going to, by the way, delete this message right over here, and I'm going to add that message right back over here. Send a message. All right, I'm going to put that message back over here.
And just a time check, Ralph. We're getting about on that 45-minute.
Okay, coming up there. Return a list of 3 games. Okay, there we go. So this is the part. You see where it says generative answers? Here is the new thing. The new thing is when you call to action. The new thing is, this is the old way, I should say. Create a flow. That's what you used to do, or call a skill. All right. Now they have advanced generative answers. See that? This is the new thing.
Wait, how did you get to that?
You would think it's an action. It's not. It's advanced.
Wow.
Generative answers. And you get this thing. And all you got to do is edit the data source. Check it out. Add all the websites you want to put in. Put in a SharePoint list. Put in your own Azure OpenAI service in there. Put in your own custom data. All I did was I said point to xbox.com, right? And then here, and this is what I did. I went and I created the formula. Okay, so this is the magic though. I did this. I created the formula. Return a list of 3 games that are based on the user search for the recommendations based on the following. And look, I created this. I put topic, last game played. You remember those messages earlier that they were capturing data from the users? Last game played, the game genre, and the game mode. And then that's the output that comes back, right? Automatically. So I did that, right? So now it's done. I save it, and I can test it immediately. Watch. Okay. I want a recommendation for a new Game Pass. 1 second. Got it. Game Pass game. Here we go. And check it out. It's showing you that it caught it. There it is. What genre are you interested in? I'm going to say, how about RPG? Hey, what do you like? Single player? I want single player. You see that? It's showing you, by the way, it's going. What was the last game you enjoyed playing? I last played. Oh, maybe I was doing Starfield.
Zork.
Yeah, I'm doing Starfield. All right, here we go. Here goes.
That's Zork. Do you remember Zork?
Thank you for providing information. Stay tuned.
Sometimes I don't think you pay attention to me, Ralph.
It should be going to the next thing. And it didn't give an error, but it says it's here. And it should have returned. Oh, wow. That's really weird because it should have returned this piece. It should have returned it. I'm just waiting for it. Maybe I should have tracking on. Well, let's try it again because I'm not sure why. It might be just taking a long time to answer. Because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a please wait. I'm going to take out this message over here for now and save it. And I'm going to do they have this concept of refresh the chat. And I'm going to ask again. I want a recommendation for a new game. Oh no, it went unknown. See that? It went unknown. And look, it went straight to a recommendation on the Gen AI piece. So I want a recommendation on a new Game Pass game. Watch it do something different. See how subtle that is? Right?
That's pretty easy.
That's pretty easy. Okay, I'm going to ask for it again. I'm just going to say racing this time. And I want multiplayer. And last game I played, maybe Forza. Just making it up. Oh, Froza.
Make it Zork.
There we go. All right, let's see if this works. This should have worked. There we go. Hey, it worked that time.
Now I want to go play it.
Look at this. That game. It's in your search. It says get the newer Forza Horizon F1. Check it out. And look, with links and everything. And it did it in a nice format. I didn't have to go and write all that code in my little topics to go do it in this format and do it. It just spit it out. I want a recommend. I don't have an ending over here. Maybe I should have put an ending to it there. A recommendation for another Game Pass game. Let's see what it does. What genre? Let's go RPG. I really want to know an RPG. I want single player. And I want Starfield. Yeah, come on. Come on, give me something. There we go. I got you now.
The ultimate.
All right, what is it? Hey, Skyrim, of course. Witcher and Dragon Age. How about it? And Scene. That's it. That was the quick demo.
I was playing Assassin's Creed for a while, but
so if I probably said, because it was Skyrim first person, it looked at Starfield like a first person. If I said Assassin's Creed was my last game, it'll probably give me a different type of result. It'll give like the Unreal Engine versus the Bethesda engine or whatever that they're using. Right, but I'm not going to go into that. I could have gotten into detail over here, but you see how easy that was. Basically, a topic create these. It creates these immediately. All I had to do was just add the create generative answers, and then all I had to, the magic was this prompt. See that prompt over there? That was the magic. I could have made that prompt so specific and so detailed, and added more recommendation pieces of information.
And that's where the skill set's going to be coming in, right?
That's where the skill sets come.
Can you do good prompts?
Yeah, well, maybe one day we'll have a prompt thing for CoPilot, Power Apps and Power Automate. Let's talk. Let's have like a little user group workshop. Share your prompts. What are your favorite prompts? Maybe we'll come up with and play around. People, bring your prompts. Let's try them out. Let's see what happens when you play with your prompts. Let's see what we can make.
Hopefully in the next month or two, when the weather warms up a little bit more, and we have access to the MTC in Chicago, we can have an in-person one.
In person coming up, maybe some more Illuminatis. Who knows?
Definitely a lot more Illuminatis. We gotta
a lot more Illuminatis than last time. That's for sure.
I didn't get a piece.
I know we're not yet. We're not yet. I should say not. Maybe I should put the word yet. We're not sponsored by Illuminatis right now. Right now,
we should be.
Who knows? We should be. Lose. I don't know. Wiener Circle. One of those places. We'll get some folks. We'll get some folks. We'll always have food. Or got to be careful. You got to pick a battle on that side.
Yeah. Hot dogs.
Chicago hot dog for sure.
All right. Need somebody that can deliver it there, though.
Someone who can deliver. That's true. Got to be able to deliver.
I think this would be a good place to wrap up because it's been about the 45 minutes that we wanted to cover.
Oh, I'm sorry. So that's my piece over here, and I hope that covered enough stuff for us.
I think that
right
did.
There and
good
there.
Job.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to hit the stop sharing, and it's just us now. All right. So, we're a little over the 45, but we should be okay. I need to get back to my stakeholders and feed them.
And Raquel, I think you could stop recording.
Yes. Thank you, Raquel. Say bye.
Oh, bye, everybody.